Can I ask you? You said you're the full-time employee, right?
Yeah.
And your mind is always going with it. So how does a musician, an artist, make a living now? And I'm asking kind of specific questions like, do you have to make it on touring, and that's the way you know you can make it, or you have to sell X amount of digital copies or CDs or merch or get songs licensed in television shows or on commercials? I mean,
Yeah.
when you're sitting there going, okay, I'm writing a song. I hope this connects with the audience. I hope this gets on a commercial. I mean, because when you get on a commercial, you make whatever $10,000 or $100,000. I have no idea what the numbers are, but how do you think about that kind of stuff? Because there's got to be so many different so many different revenue streams.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can balance them all in your head as a businessman.
Yeah, I guess you kind of, after a while, you kind of realize what the 4 or 5 revenue streams are, and then you have to figure out how they're related to each other. Like if you quit touring, so our revenue off of our album goes up significantly while we're touring because we sell more records. Because more people are being exposed to the music, and people go home from the show, go to iTunes, and then you've got so really for us, I just keep it simple. It's touring, merch. So touring, merch, like sync, which is like getting a song on a TV show.
Yep.
Synchronization.
Are you giving these in the order of priority in your head? Pretty much.
No, let's see. If they're in order of priority, it's touring, digital revenue from the online marketplaces like iTunes, Amazon, etc. Merch, sync, and then there's like a couple of ancillary ones that kind of fit in different categories. Like we're a part of this thing called the Music Bed, where videographers, go and license your song for wedding videos, and that's kind of in sync world, but it's not necessarily a TV show.
Right.
But touring is definitely for us is the driver of the whole thing. Because even on the digital kind of sales side of things, the cost of making a record is still pretty expensive, especially if you're marketing it. And
right. Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, for me, I really like that side of the business. I have a great manager who handles a lot of that stuff, but I still do all the kind of the hands-on, writing the checks, paying the bills.
Awesome.
And the expense of touring, you have to think about, like, you've got 7 people in a van. Everybody's got to eat. Everybody's got to have a bed to sleep in. And everybody's got to get paid every day. And so you have your daily nut that varies depending on, kind of how you choose to attack all those different, line items, and then you got to make the money work. Or sometimes if it doesn't work, you got to figure out if the merch will cover the difference. And if you take a tour opening for somebody, you're usually, you're going to lose money. It's just a matter of how much,
Really?
Yeah.
You'll take that for a long term.
Yeah, if you, let's take the Need to Breathe tour for instance. We did sell a lot of merch, and so we got close to breaking even, but not all the way there. But let's take Boston for instance. We've only played in Boston one time, and we probably had maybe 30 people show up, and so that night when we headlined, we lost lots of money,
right?
Because my guys get paid regardless of who shows up, and the hotels don't. For some reason, when you tell them only 30 people came to your show, they still make you pay for your room. So this time with Need to Breathe, we went in and played in front of 2,000 people at the House of Blues,
right?
And had a great reaction. And so now we'll go back to Boston in the fall, and we'll probably sell 250, 350 tickets. So it opens up new markets for you, and so it's like any business. You gotta spend money on your infrastructure to create future sources of revenue, and always trying to be creative about that. And the great thing about where we're coming from is that we do own all of our records outright, and we have some royalties we have to pay out to different people, songwriters and producers. But I mean, since I write all the songs alone, it kind of there's not a lot of that going on this record at least. So there's I just read an article in Billboard about a woman who is in LA who doesn't tour at all. All she does is write songs for TV and film and puts them up on iTunes. And she makes a decent living. For us, I got into this because I like touring. I like performing on stage. I shouldn't say I like touring. I like performing. And I like performing in different places to different crowds. There's just a different dynamic. It's a living organism. The whole show just feels like a different thing every night. So I got into it for that reason. So I don't foresee any way that I would, at least at this point in my life, where I would back off of touring to a point where it wasn't the primary. Yeah. It's not necessarily the primary source of profit, but it's the primary source of revenue. The expenses are the cash flow can be good, but the expenses can also be really high. So,
but it also sounds like the primary source of feeling like you're
of joy,
doing something and having meaning and joy and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Which when you were talking about success earlier, about your friends being quote unquote more successful than you, I always wonder that, because that's what so many people ask me. Well, are you successful? And I know they're just asking me if I'm making a bunch of money. They're not really asking me if I'm enjoying what I'm doing,
Right. Well, these some of my buddies who are in the golf world, when I told them I got to play some of these courses on this tour, the success barometer made a turn, even though I'm not paying to play those places. I got invited, but
right. Well, it's too bad when you got out of college you didn't become a DJ and start doing EDM, because, man,
oh my gosh,
is that serious? I mean, I never saw that coming.
Me neither.
I always thought there'd be people playing instruments on stage, and like you guys, right? I mean, I just figured there'd be this jamming thing going on and this human interconnection, and not that there isn't connection going on, but it's just like I just never saw it coming that it would be that huge, and it's not that I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's just such a surprise.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think the best gig in the touring world is being a comedian. You show up with one microphone and one monitor. The only thing hard about that is you have to be funny.
You have to be funny and not drink yourself to death. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a great, I just watched, I think it's like 95 miles to there or here or something like that. But it's the Ray Romano thing behind, it's on Netflix, so you can stream it. It's really easy, but
he's funny.
Just three guys in a van, and the third guy is the guy doing the documentary.
Yep.
Right? It's just the two, and this is after his show, after the TV show was huge for him, so relatively speaking, he can afford it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And yet they're just driving in a van.
Making it work. It's fun.
Yeah, I don't, although I got to tell you, we're all messed up a little bit, but comedians, man, they find a different way to exist in this world, because they're screwed up sometimes. That's all I can say. Yeah, another great documentary is the one with Conan. You should watch that. After. Have you watched that one yet?
I'll write that down.
Oh, that's great. So, enough documentary thing. Can I go through a few more songs? Because I guess at the end of the day, the songs have to be there. Otherwise, the touring doesn't happen, and merch doesn't happen, and all the stuff you just talked about.
If you don't have the songs, then the whole thing is fruitless.
Right.